I have to say, Spider-Man 2017 is the most Spider-Man cartoon that has ever Spider-Maned. I mean, Marvel's Spider-Man, really, as the title, that's really it? If only there wasn't a video game with the same name coming out that very next year. But this video isn't about the game, although the titles could use some work. Let's talk about the actual contents of this cartoon. If you notice the washed out palette and shading, it's just hard to look at. I get there's this whole trope about making reality as washed out as possible because reality is dull and gray. But if you're reminding me of the desaturated live action Disney movies, which I utterly detest, then you're not going to earn a lot of goodwill. Or if you're trying to remind me of that horrible MCU synergy of Avengers Assembled and what they did to Ultron, ew, that's not earning you any goodwill. What's weird is that the promotional art isn't like this at all. The colors are not desaturated, the shading is so much better. If the promotional art looks better than the actual show and the show doesn't have an excuse, then you failed. This is a disappointing color palette you're going with. I don't animate, but I'm sure making it not desaturated would make life so much better. I'm also using this still of Black Cat to prove a certain point. The show is trying to copy the design philosophy of the MCU costumes. If you look at MCU costumes, like the shot of Endgame, you have this blocky prefabrication that looks like a sort of cross between plate armor, except it was made out of cloth, spandex, and plastic. However, recycling this design philosophy in a cartoon does not work, as shown by Black Cat right here. There's no differential shading, there's no anything that would help distinguish it and give the costume any sense of depth. Instead, you just have something that looks really flat with lines on it. And it's not just this still of Black Cat. Basically, every costume with this design philosophy has this issue, even on actual armor. In some stills, these plates look so flat and painted on with lines, it's not great. The visuals are probably the reason I fell asleep multiple times while watching this show. So, what about the actual characters proper? Let's start with just Peter and focus on Peter throughout the rest of this video. Peter is the least smart person in this show. I'm not saying he's dumb as a sack of bricks, though there are certain moments where you do question whether or not his brain is a frictionless surface, but he has one major issue. He is at Horizon High. Horizon High is a school meant for teenage super geniuses. It means Peter can get his butt kicked constantly and need one of those scientist friends to bail him out. That's also how we're getting the extended Spider family, which is annoying because it helps make Peter come off as completely not special. 1. Everyone at Horizon High, as mentioned, is some kind of super genius electrical engineer with some kind of minor in biochemistry. The fact that everyone's a genius means Peter's intelligence is less pronounced. Now there's an easy solution to this. The Big Hero 6 solution. Give everyone a specialty. Laser cutting was used for wasabi in that film. Chemistry was for Honey Lemon. Electromagnetic suspension was for Go-Go. You get the idea. Everyone specializes, no one knows everything, they just know everything about their given field. We don't get that with this show. Everyone is a Tony Stark level genius, from Harry to this teenage Electro. 2. When your cast of geniuses can whip up mech suits and biological hazards without a hitch, that's an amazing way to destroy any tension that exists. Why the hell should I care if Peter's in danger? One of his friends could just whip up a power blaster or a gauntlet that they just so happen to be working on that month. Why should I care about a little symbiote when you can have someone walk in with a flaming sword and a sonic grenade that has settings between high school pep rally to Taylor Swift concert? The dissolution of tension, plus the fact that the animation quality isn't that good to begin with, makes this show completely repetitive, boring. Even if you're pulling elements from the Dan Slott run and the Donny Cates Venom run, it's really unpleasant to look at. This is why I hold Ultimate Spider-Man to be above Marvel Spider-Man 2017. Yes, I understand Ultimate was insufferable. However, I never found myself bored enough to actually sleep through Ultimate. Oh, I found myself frustrated plenty of times, but sleeping? I think the biggest failure of any given work is if you put your audience to sleep. You want an emotional reaction out of them. Sleep is not an emotional reaction, that's a defense mechanism. But those are just my thoughts. Please consider liking, subscribing, tipping the channel on Ko-fi. This is Cyril signing off.